Okay. Marshall's drivers race.
Oh my god. You have no idea. Oh, you're killing me here. I push you around the track and wipe you out. Oh, and it almost came back at me. I'm dodging cars left and right here. Coming for the I'm aware. Now I'm really coming for you.
I got nothing left my way. Brian, you got the short track.
That's 7.
Dang it. I mean, I have to be on the ragged edge or you're going to catch me, so.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the best podcast ever, where 3 idiots you don't know talk about a hobby you've never heard of. However, we're back to the Mike and Brian days.
This has been a long time coming. I can't help. It's been like 3 months since we've done one of these.
Yeah, not that it was better than when Kevin wasn't here. I think it was sufficiently less entertaining.
Yeah, so despite my profuse apologies when we did a me and Kevin episode,
Brian less episode.
this might actually be the worst combination, the most common combination. So there we are.
Well, the good news here is, Mike, you've used your powers for evil, unfortunately, and you've banished Kevin to the Phantom Zone.
Yes, he is deep into the Phantom Zone, following my heel turn this evening. I beat Kevin with his own car at 60 GT, which is his favorite, probably, maybe his favorite class, top 3, which is probably true for all of us. Beat him with his own backup car, which was also serving as my backup car.
The Frank and Lola did not make it.
No. And
all rise for the Frank and Lola.
yes. No. But ultimately, we would have been tied if not for the fact that whilst I was in yellow lane and he was in green, half a lap ahead of me, I decided, and gapping me by the second. I decided to go for it, and
go for it. He did.
Yes, I figured I would just, take my medicine and lose the heat to Kevin, but spear his car for comedy value. But instead, I did a 720 at least, perhaps a 1080. We'll never know. Well, it was not a 1080. It wasn't a 360 of any number of times, because it probably was a 900.
Yeah, it probably was a 900
because I ended up facing the opposite
other way. Yeah.
And skipped half a lap. So.
Hopefully I have a good picture of the track, and I can maybe point 2 arrows to, like, Mike started here, Mike ended up here, skipped half a lap, and then, Mike was on the floor laughing over here, and Kevin was fuming over there.
It was, in the last episode, we discussed the rolling head of Derek Bell in the MG Vanquish.
Where do we put the thought bubble on Derek Bell in that photo? I guess we'll see when this comes out.
Yeah. I don't think there was a thought bubble.
There wasn't a thought bubble, but there's going to be one in this one.
That was probably, thinking back on 18 plus years of racing there, the funniest thing that ever happened, and I think that might have been surpassed tonight. So. That might have been the funniest thing that's happened in 18 years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we had Kevin throw down his controller like Thor's mighty hammer.
And of course, we will have race footage for you from this race, but not that, because I was on track and we've been using my phone to collect race footage, so...
Yeah, well, not that the GoPro would have caught much of that anyway.
Right. That's true, because we'll do it in real time.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
But yes, Kevin has decided he doesn't want that car back. He didn't gift it to Mike so much as he never wanted to see it again.
Yeah, which is funny because I went a whole season holding on to parts of the car he ran tonight because he lent it to me, the white GT40, which is now the black GT40.
Yeah.
He had lent that to me and I sat on it for like a year. So now I guess this is also my car. So we'll see how that goes. There might be something in the works to make that right, but I don't want to spoil it.
I mean, they closed it.
As right as BT could make it.
Yes.
I should probably do that under the table, huh?
Yeah, because as we learned in the last episode, that's the loudest thing in the show. Starring the Crackers and featuring Mike and Brian.
BT Crackers. They're an indie.
Yeah, so
So we definitely wanted to talk about that. In fact, that's the entire reason this episode exists.
yeah, because we actually don't need to be doing this right now, but
In fact, we are still in the throes of completing one that will hopefully go up in a couple of days.
yeah, hopefully you will have heard that by now because I made reference to it already. But yeah, we're now in the downhill portion of the season. I think we've run all of our favorite races, as much as they're going to be run.
Before HO season starts and Mike takes a semi-permanent holiday.
Yeah, I mean, I have an excuse this time besides just my hatred of HO racing, but that's another issue. But yeah, we're winding down the season. A couple of IROCs coming up. Talk of a Dr. Evil Group C IROC next week if he's back from the Phantom Zone.
Yeah, if he's back from the Phantom Zone and he makes a car out of mattresses, as you suggested earlier tonight, to drive.
I was genuinely disappointed that he showed up in a car that we had already seen. It was a nice little streak we had going. Although we still haven't seen him in his actual car. So
His new car that he bought.
the car that he bought that started this parade of him showing up in random other cars.
Well, Mike, you never made the John Player Special logo for BTE.
That's true. Maybe that's the problem. So,
You know, without the BTE sticker, I mean, how could it run?
yeah, that's right. I don't know, Michael worked okay. But, yeah, I'll have to work on that. Should be feasible. The letters don't really lend themselves, but I think we can do it. Nothing is really beyond doing.
I mean, it's not like we ever do any work together, you know? It's...
Yeah, that's true. So,
But yeah, no, this has been a successful 132nd season. Got a couple of victories under everyone's belt, I
yeah,
think.
this has been one of my worst seasons in terms of wins and total ribbons. I mean, the last 2 years I probably had more firsts and seconds than I had this year, but
You mean those seasons when Kevin couldn't make it very much?
that was the issue. Yes. Yeah, I think that was probably the difference. But since I don't keep any stats on that anymore, we'll never know.
But you do write your name, or your car next to your name on the sign-up sheet every week.
I'm really dating myself by doing that because it goes back to like when somebody cared,
Ugh.
when there was a Yahoo group, and
When Yahoo was a thing.
when there were race results posted, and when I was often the one posting them.
Yep. So another fun bit of trivia. I am going to a rather large slot car show this weekend. This is being recorded weekend of the Super Bowl,
That's correct.
where we are both from the northeast of the United States, and two teams which we are not fans of. We have the Patriots and the Eagles in the Super Bowl, so we're rooting for Team Meteor.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I've fallen off following football as closely as I used to, but if I was to go back to it, I would go back to the Giants, which is what I always rooted for. And
Yeah.
I can't think of two teams that I like less, unless there was somehow a Cowboys versus Eagles Super Bowl, defying all logic just to annoy me.
So what I'm doing instead of watching that game is I'm going to wake up at the butt crack of dawn, get in a tiny car filled with slot car merchandise, drive to Long Island,
Slot cars and slot car accessories.
yeah, to sell slot cars because apparently I can never. I can never not do that in my life. I have to do that at all times. So, yeah, I'm going to be at the. I'll say the thing of it because no one's going to be there by the time this comes out. The Bob's Beers Super Bowl show. It happens every Super Bowl.
Where does it actually happen? I've never gone.
It's at the Hilton on a particular stretch of highway, and I can't tell you where it is because I'm always sleeping when we get there. Wherever the bar the Savoy is, because they actually like have a nightclub there that they push all the tables and stuff away, and then they put in card tables, and that's where we set up.
Wow.
Like there's a bar there that no one's serving, obviously.
Right, because it's Sunday morning.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's amazing because you would think the slot car folk and the football folk are the same people.
You would think there's
And they
a
are.
lot of
It's
overlap.
just, I guess they're not doing anything that day until later.
Until later.
Yeah, because the show opens at like 10.
Right. Yeah,
And we're
so
out of
I
there by
guess-
1.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, yeah. In that case,
Yeah.
people, you know, go
They
where
show
they
up,
go,
drop
yeah.
all their money, and leave.
Yeah. No, it's less money for them to lose betting on the game.
I mean, I'm always very motivated to sell at this event because that means there's less that I have to pack up and then unpack when I get back to NJ Hobby.
I think that's in general, the premise of going to a show to sell anything, isn't it? I mean, I haven't gone to that many slot car shows, but when I was growing up, we went to a lot of baseball card shows.
Oh, okay.
Like when I had that run-in with Reggie Jackson that we dealt with in a past episode. And we were never selling, we were always buying, but and sometimes it's gawking at...
Which means you
The
got
level of
you got
crap.
to see the same thing I got to see back in the day as far as collectibles go, because I used to go to a lot of flea markets with my dad. He'd be there for slot cars and antiques.
Yeah, well, this was the 90s.
Yeah.
This is the heyday of everything being collectible.
Well, did you also see packs of the original packs of Magic cards up for sale for like
Yes.
$1 a pack, and no one bought any of it because we didn't know what it was, and now
Right.
that's all more expensive than all the slot cars combined.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, you know, I think it's fair to say that in the 90s, and both of us have, you know, parents that skew older for how old we are,
Yeah.
but I think it's fair to say that the 90s were a decade in which early half of the boomer generation made up for the fact that their parents threw out all their crap by selling each other everything they could.
That's exactly how NJ Hobby came into existence. I had a grandmother on my dad's side who
Yep.
threw out all of his comics, all of his toys,
Yep.
all of his everything.
Yep, that was my dad's
And-
story as well.
My dad opened a store originally called The Collection,
Yes.
and he had a whole bunch of stores, and then one day a guy wouldn't buy a $75 ring for his wife of like 30 years or something. My dad knows the story more. We'll get him on the show one of these days. And he wouldn't spend $75 on a ring for his wife of like 30 years, but then he saw slot cards and he bought $120 worth. And my dad's like, I am in the wrong business. He put everything to auction and he opened a hobby shop.
He was ahead of the curve on that, actually. You know, because really that was, what, late 70s, right?
Yeah.
So he was definitely ahead of the curve on that. By the 90s, you know, you had the onset of everything having vintage Coca-Cola advertising on it, like ties that were Coca-Cola advertising. My dad had a rack of those. You know, that's what everything's
The 90s
collectible
were a really interesting moment, and what I'm going to ask you to get, because I'm sure it's from the 90s, is that hat you have. The indie hat?
on. Which one?
The yellow one that actually has the front of the Indy car on it.
Okay, I have several.
Really?
Well, I have the one that has the front plastic wing and the rear plastic wing both hanging off it. That's an Indy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Then there's the one that's just a hard plastic shell of a Newman Haas Indy car. That's not the Pennzoil one. You're talking about the
Yeah.
pesky one. But I also have one that's a trucker hat because it was 1990 in the back. But just the brim of it is the front of a car. So I have
Now
all
we
three of
need to
those.
see all three. Mike, that's
Yeah.
exactly what you just did.
Yeah,
I didn't
I'll
realize that these were common. I thought this was just like a one-off thing.
No, I had a couple of those. I'll have to do some recon at my mom's house for the third one. The other two we have footage of because that's what I'm spinning around.
That's an indie, that's an indie,
Yeah.
that's an indie. We can finally use that in a video.
Yeah, we used it.
No, we used it in an article on the website.
Oh, yeah. Well, now we can use it in the video.
Along with That's a Can-Am, which I'm going to say That's a Can-Am just because I want to use that graphic again.
Yeah.
That was great.
BT fun fact, I enjoy making graphics like that.
Inside joke just slowly crawls across the screen.
Well, by now you will have seen it because clearly you've watched episode 21.
We do have fans, and we want to address you directly. One guy
Yeah.
who watches all of our stuff, and we're clearly doing it for you because we don't know why we're doing it for each other at this point.
Yeah, no. Well, I'm doing this for Kevin. I'm pouring one out for my homie who let me beat him with his own car by cheating. But
Again, if a Marshall had picked that car up, nobody would have blamed him.
yep.
but we tend not to pick the cars up that are in motion unless they're about to hit something.
And it was the last lap. Like,
Yeah.
I jumped and completed the heat. If there was another lap to run, maybe somebody would have grabbed it. But by the time anybody processed what happened, I had already tripped the lap counter and it was over.
Well, no, because okay, so I was running the race at this point, so I had control of the wires.
Yeah.
And I see Mike come out, and I thought he came out on the overpass, which would have sent him the wrong way.
Which is what I thought, too. I thought I had set myself back.
But he hadn't. He skipped like 75% of the car. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
You want some more? I'll bring you some more.
Oh, yes, thank you. And as you can hear, folks, that's our food arriving, so we'll see you after the break. And we're back. Now, you will notice in this episode you didn't hear us ordering food, and don't worry, Kevin, we totally both got chicken parms.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely didn't cheat on chicken parm. So, this is the juncture where Kevin would say something like Kevin Kogan getting punched in the face, or...
Yeah, do something off the wall, sing the, What was it? It got cut, but we'll have to see if I can pull out the song and put it here. Or nothing's here.
This could be Kevin's contribution to the episode.
That's how we get Kevin in. We take sound clips from parts that Brian had to cut due to Kevin doing something he's not supposed to,
Yeah,
and put him back in the episode.
Yeah. Well, that works. You know, whatever works. Chip Ganassi is large and in charge of the Fat T-Motor Club.
I'm about to say, and he don't need no man. Where are you going with that
Yeah,
sentence?
there you go.
But yeah, so we are winding down the 132nd season. Really, at this point, we might start looking into other BTE projects that we've been putting off for literally ever.
Multiple years. Yeah.
Well, there might be a BTE podcast of BTE takes down the 132nd track.
That's true. If I'm available to, yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna call in and find out. If you're not available, that's totally fine, but ain't gonna stop me from calling.
Yeah, it's gonna be that could even be a real life video.
Oof. That's gonna be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Especially trying to find somewhere to put that thing at my parents' house.
Yeah.
It's gonna be rad. So, and then we'll get to put up the HO track and find something to do for 6 months.
Well, you'll run some of that at least.
I'll run some of it. I mean, I like to rag on HO, but truth be told, there are quite a few HO races I enjoy.
Yeah.
I'm not good at them.
There's less than 5 that I even enjoy doing, and even at that, I'm terrible at all of. Even the ones that I used to be really good at, I'm now terrible at. This is such a different.
Well, I mean, you saw me tonight. I had a car that could beat Kevin.
Yeah.
And this is the second race in a row that me and Kevin have been at where I had Kevin dead to rights. Mm-hmm. But just too much rust, too much hesitation, not enough skill, not enough practice.
It happened to me earlier in the
Yeah.
season when we did Group 5. I mean, you know, that 935, Martini 935, is probably the best Group 5 car that hits the track. And
Yeah.
I have not won a race with it yet. So.
Well,
We're shrugging, for those of you who know.
at least getting a picture of somebody shrugging and then putting the BT over their face will be easy to source.
Or the shrug emoticon that everybody just copies and pastes because it's too hard to type. And there's still not a good shrug emoji, so shrugging is still done via emoticon.
Hashtag shrug.
Yeah, we can just shrug about the fact that there's not a good shrug emoji.
But it's the HO season. I mean, I even the Tyco 440 race you'll be there for.
Yeah. But the problem is that the Tyco 440 race is Tyco and Mega G, and everyone but me can make a Mega G faster than their respective Tyco. I cannot. I have no luck with Mega G, so I stick with the Tyco. And
I raced a Tyco last time too. I think I placed. I don't know what I placed at.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes, thank you very much.
Would you like anything else?
No, just a check.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But yeah, no, HO season will have either new stuff for you to look at, or it'll be a lot of Brian vlogs.
Well, you'll get Kevin there.
If he ever gets his car up and running, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll see how much we can tap you for photoshops for conversations you weren't part of.
Yeah. I mean, I'll actually have to listen carefully to the show. It's gonna be terrible.
Or trust my art direction, which is something that me and Mike are currently playing hot potato on.
Yeah.
No, you're better at it. No, you're better at it. No, you're better at it.
Yeah, it's funny because, I mean, not giving too much away, it's, essentially the work that I do, and I'm used to working alone, so.
There you go,
Thanks.
guys.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Thanks.
Well, folks, I think that was a good little mini episode. I think we'll cut it there, and I mean, hopefully we'll have something big for you. As you heard at the end of 132nd season, there might even be an honest to goodness video up and running. But until then, thanks for coming along the ride, and we'll see you next time.